Let's talk to Tom Murphy this morning. We'll talk with Richard a little more recruiting coming up. Tom, College World Series Game 3, Mississippi State dominates. Bettner and just those guys just started to find their bats. You had Dak Prescott not only cheering in the stands, but meeting them in the locker room after. How significant was it for Mississippi State last night to expunge every other team in the history of that program, not just baseball, but to finally win their first ever national championship?
Well, it's a really proud program, and I think it's a town and a program in the SEC that feels like it's kind of the underdog. But their baseball was one that's always been kind of a shining a nugget that had a chance, and they finally put it together. And to be honest, this was probably Arkansas's year. They went 4-0 against Mississippi State and Vanderbilt. They were better than both of those teams. They just ran out of hitting, I guess, in the Super Regional, and then it should have been the team that beat them, NC State. They should have been in the finals. And the way they were playing, I would have bet on them to beat Mississippi State. So it was just a weird deal, and I think had Vanderbilt won it, it would have kind of come with a little asterisk, and it would have been kind of tainted. But instead, Mississippi State does it. And it goes to show you when you're in pursuit of a championship, you bring your starting pitchers back a little sooner, and I don't know if there's a great health risk or a minor health risk or what, but Rocker, Bednar, both pitching short rest, and Bednar just had the better stuff, and Mississippi State deserved what they got.
Tom, the perspective that many of our listeners have given us this morning, like Tommy brought it up earlier, is if Mississippi State can do it, then we can do it. Or they've gone on the other end. Arkansas had its chance in 2018, and they're never going to get it back. Where do you fall in that discussion when it pertains to Arkansas baseball winning a national championship in years to come?
Yeah, well, there's no question that you cannot get back 2018, and that one stings as badly. That stings as badly as any baseball loss probably they've ever had. Maybe the Cal State Fullerton in '79 because it was such a close game too. But anyway, yeah, you can't get it back. But Dave Van Horn's recruiting at a level. I mean, like I just said, they're better. They were better than both Vandy and Mississippi State. So it's really a matter of peaking at the right time. Having a little bit more pitching depth, I would say, and just having the mojo going. They had the mojo in 2018, and this year you could sense coming down the stretch a little bit that there were some games that they didn't have it, and NC State just was a team that looked like on a mission and had a bunch of veteran hitters. But Dave Van Horn will keep pushing and keep pushing. And they'll get back to Omaha, and they stand a decent chance of winning a national championship in the next few years.
Tom, even in years where Arkansas went to the College World Series, once they've been eliminated, kind of the conversation and the interest waned or fell completely off the table. What does it say to you that even though Arkansas didn't even make the College World Series, we've continued to have calls here on the show, interactions via text. It's been kind of central to the conversation on the show the last couple of weeks with no Arkansas in the College World Series. That to me is a noticeable change in the interest level in our state with college baseball. Do you have a takeaway on that? What do you draw from that? Because I think it's interesting that the interest level in the College World Series without the Razorbacks seems to be a little bit different this year. Do you have the same feel as I do on that?
Yeah, a lot of people are still very plugged in, engaged. And I'll tell you what, big props to Dave Van Horn for building a national powerhouse team and just playing all the other programs in the state and not worrying about if they lose like that first game to Little Rock. Just, hey, it happens. It's baseball. And they had a much better success against the in-state teams this year. They're going to keep playing them. And so I think it's going to lead to more and more kids being interested in baseball and playing it. I mean, they're probably peeling off a few numbers from football here and there because there's a lot of moms that worry about concussions and major injuries and things like that. But that's a deeper discussion other than to say that baseball is a fun sport and Razorback fans understand that or people in the state do. And there was great SEC representation at the College World Series. I wish Tennessee had played better. I know a lot of Arkansas fans were kind of steamed at Tennessee, and I know their players were a little over-exuberant for some people, but I like Tony, and I wish they had done better.
Tom Murphy with us here on the Morning Rush. Let's jump into this name, image, likeness conversation that really takes effect, and we're going to start seeing changes effective today. I was seeing last night a few athletes with social media posts that, hey, I'm available if your business is interested in using my name or me making an appearance, some things like that. What's your understanding about what can happen immediately right here in Fayetteville, Arkansas, with athletes beginning today?
Hey, Tommy, I'll be honest. Do you have to register? Do the schools have to approve?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What if they're in direct competition with some major supporter? So to me, this is the murkiness that the big push has led to, and I honestly do not know what all is involved with this, but I do think that pretty soon you're going to see people endorsing things or a kid's name associated with some product. It's just inevitable, and I don't doubt that they've already had conversations with the University of Arkansas folks. The weird part of all this is because there was an attempt at federal legislation regarding this, and the SEC weighs in heavily. I wouldn't doubt that the people who are working on brand image and all that at U of A have been working quite steadily and furiously in the last few weeks about how do we apply this immediately when we get these requests. What do we do? And so I haven't had a conversation with them. I've geared it back since baseball ended, but I don't know. I hope it's not the Wild West.
Yeah, because, as I read it and went through, just the numerous reports last night, this vote or temporary suspension of the rules as they've been regarding these name, image, likeness, and their ability to make money on those things. We knew it was coming, but then they lift it, and they kind of do it at a time of the year where, July is the month where a lot of administrators and a lot of people that help run athletic departments take their time off. There's no sports going on campus. It's a quiet time at most college campuses when it comes to the athletic departments, and I thought the timing of it from that perspective, this might not be the month to begin something so important and so new in a month where maybe your most key people aren't always on campus.
Exactly. And then what are they going to do if other schools see things that start turning people in and all these administrators? I don't know. My head spins to think of all the different ramifications and collateral issues that arise from this.
Can't believe the NCAA would do something that would leave you scratching your head a little bit. So.
Tom Murphy with us here on the Morning Rush. Tom, you got a piece on Rocket Sanders I saw a lot of people were looking at, and we've been wondering about his presence, his role this upcoming season, him and A.J. Green. I think those are the two players that people are the most excited about, the two upcoming running back and wide receiver kind of combo freshmen. What can you tell us about what you envision Rocket Sanders looking like in 2021?
Well, that's really kind of a magic question because you only have one football. And Traylon Smith is a stud, and Traylon Smith is a stud. Traylon Burks is a stud. Those guys are going to get the ball. You got to be able to, last year it was hard to get it to everybody because you're playing an all SEC schedule. There's no walkover games or anything like that. This year, maybe they can get out ahead of some folks and give people some chances and see if they can filter in on big games. But Rocket Sanders is, you can tell he's got skills, he's got speed, power. He's 6'2", 225. I hope he can get 3 or 4 carries, 5 carries in some of the early games and find a way to contribute. But there's a lot of people going to be knocking on that door, and it's a pretty crowded running back room. So, we'll see. Injuries are a part of the deal, too, so you got to have guys ready to go in case of injury. But hopefully the fans can see what Rocket Sanders was telling me all about. Is he just wants to show people what he's got.
You Bob Holt, Seth Campbell, Scotty Bordelon, and Matt Jones all also did a quarterback roundtable earlier this week, and Tommy and I were kicking around who we think is going to have a better year, KJ Jefferson 2021 or Felipe this past season. I think there's arguments for both sides. When you look at KJ Jefferson, what he is, and y'all talked about spring ball and a bunch of things, what's the most pivotal piece, Tom, for KJ Jefferson to have what is perceived as a successful season in 2021?
He's got to be able to play with some comfort, meaning he's got to get some protection. He can't be looking at the rush and things like that. And I think the odds favor Felipe Franks' 2020 being statistically better. I mean, he set a school record for passing completion percentage. So, what was it, 68.5? But I do think that KJ's running ability can put another dimension on it, and I think he's going to have better escapability. But they've got to be able to just protect him some, and then the guys around him, he's got to get the ball into Burch's hands and Devion Warren's, and have a screen game and all that kind of stuff. But and his accuracy's got to be a little bit better. So he's got work to do, but he has a chance to be at least average in the SEC and maybe slightly above average.
Tom, I know that Larry Bird had a really successful outing against your Atlanta Hawks back in 1988, and we're about to get into a Larry Bird story, but they're 2 wins away from going to the NBA Finals and taking on the Phoenix Suns. What do you think about the Hawks' chances with Giannis likely being out the rest of the season?
The Bucks are clearly the favorite. To me, it's just jaw-dropping that a franchise that was in the Eastern Finals in 2015 under Budenholzer, who's now the Bucks coach, regroups and gets it back together. I mean, but really kind of a no-name team when you get past Trae Young, who didn't play in the last game, and the Hawks won. John Collins, and I guess Clint Capella is kind of a name, but they've got some sharpshooters like Huerter and Bogdanovich, and they're just scrappy. But I'd say the Bucks are widely favored to go to the finals.
All right, Tom, that'll do it, man. We'll do it on Monday and talk some more college football. 65 days out from the Razorback season. Get excited, man.
Yep, sounds good. See y'all.
All right, Tom Murphy with us here on the Morning Rush. Yes.